All right, so Mike O'Neill, he is the founder. Let me put this bigger. I guess I can tell my age is happening here. He is the CEO and founder of Integrated Alliances. He is an industry founder amassing 30,000 connections by 2009 on his way to winning 2 Forbes Top 50 Social Media Awards. He authored Rock the World with LinkedIn and has contributed to dozens of other social media books. Known as the LinkedIn Rockstar, which you guys probably saw on our meetup, in social media circles. Mike has attended over 1,000 concerts, performed live at the Fillmore in San Francisco, and his clients include real rock stars. In the early days, Mike ushered in the world of PCs, network, software, internet, and cloud as a sales engineer where he trained sales teams, channel partners, and customers. For the last decade, Mike has been coaching, training, and speaking on LinkedIn and B2B sales. Executives learn to reach to their peers, while sales teams learn little-known LinkedIn relationship techniques to find and engage customers. Mike frequently brings his message to the stage at conferences and events in a rousing way, and he is here for us, so I'll give him a warm welcome.
Thank you. That was really accurate. You know how many years it takes to get that right? Right? You know, I'll just shine a little something here. I have a lot of numbers and backgrounds and all, but what these things do is they give you a perspective for where we are today, right? People who study history do a pretty good job of predicting where we're going to go with American foreign policy or whatever it is, right? And LinkedIn and social media, the whole world has gone through a lot of changes over the years. And if you've experienced those, hi Laura, if you've experienced these, you're better equipped to experience the next one that comes up. Do you know what I mean? Because it's just a matter of time until something's going to happen in the LinkedIn world that's going to say, oh, didn't see that one coming. And some people are going to say, oh yeah, we've seen that before. I remember the days when we didn't know if Pat was a man or a woman. Remember? They didn't have pictures. Didn't know if Chris was or anyone else was either, you know, but no big Saturday Night Live people here today, huh? I'm Pat. So I come from a technology background, and I know many people out here because of technology. Mike, right there, for example. I worked for a company that sold this kind of stuff as a sales rep, and you're really a sales engineer, not a sales rep when you're hawking this kind of gear, right? You can't be in a sales call with a client and not know the answer to the question, like, does it work with Novell? You know, the sales rep has got to know that answer because he's a sales engineer. It's not always that way. In a lot of worlds out there, you have sales engineers who go on sales calls, and you have sales reps who go on calls. And sometimes they go together, right, if it's good qualified enough. And I spent most of my world as a sales engineer, which means I was doing training for my teams, trying to get them so they could handle calls by themselves. And as a sales engineer, you sometimes have to tell your clients things they don't want to hear. You got to tell your sales reps some things they don't want to hear. Like what you've been talking about for the last 30 minutes, we can't do because they don't have fiber there. And you've been telling them all these great, powerful things they can do, but guess what? All they got is copper going to the building. And for the last half an hour, you've been selling something that we can't sell. Okay, Bitcoin doesn't work internationally, and you're trying to sell it internationally. You know, whatever it is. You know, so I kind of come from this world of where you got to train up your people, and now you're my people, right? I don't have a sales team. I don't work for US West anymore. I don't work for CompuCom. I work for myself, helping folks out like yourself out here use LinkedIn more effectively and use it with other things more effectively. This isn't pea soup. This is vegetable soup. But vegetable soup's got a meat base to it, right? That's what it is. It's a pretty meaty thing. So I'm going to show you essentially how to use LinkedIn to find top prospects as you define them. And we'll define them here today, one piece at a time. And then we're going to go engage them one action at a time after we find them. All right? So we're going to use a technique called campaigns. And I'll define campaigns in a more broad sense and a whittled down sense. But for now, we're going to use a term called campaigns. And that's an active approach. Okay, that's going out is campaigning. Answering the phone, not so much, right? That's reactive versus going out. This is kind of aggressive. And the program today is for intermediate to advanced functions here. I'm not going to cover basic stuff. You can learn that some other place. I'm going to assume it's more fun to go from the middle to the end of the race instead of always running the first half of the race, right? We get to the end of the race here. Okay, so a couple of reasons why LinkedIn is so important. I'm from the business to business world, so it's more important to me than it is maybe to some other people that are in the consumer world. If you're in the lotions world out here, it has a bit of a play, but more of who am I going to sell my product to is going to sell it to somebody else. Because people aren't looking for advice on what lotion to use on LinkedIn or what car to buy. Okay? It's just not used for that. The people you want to hit, you want to find, are out there, and I'll just stop for a moment. They're out there. Anyone saying they're not? 9 out of 10 times, if you're going to look for someone on LinkedIn that you meet in a business environment, someone you got a business card from, or you're looking somebody up or something, they're on LinkedIn. In fact, some of them are on there twice, 3 times. I know someone who's on there 5 times. Why is that?
Different businesses?
Because they mistakenly couldn't figure out their password. They create another profile. They couldn't figure out their password. They create another one. And fortunately, LinkedIn's got a nice way to consolidate stuff down now. But you got to be able to log into them all. There's your little key there. All right. So the biggest part about LinkedIn from a value standpoint is right here. First of all, it's free data. And if you go to data.com or you go to Zoom Info or any other place, people want to charge you money for data. Especially if it comes in columns and rows and you can sort it and stuff. Data has value in it. And LinkedIn's data is updated by users out here. So this is even better than Zoom Info, right? Because what percentage of the working population changes employers every unit of time, right? Okay, and if you changed from one area to another of the company, it's even updated within companies. So there's different types of accounts you have in LinkedIn as opposed to on Facebook. You have a Facebook account. Maybe you got a little business account that goes with it, but you really have a Facebook account. Okay? On Twitter, there's really just one account. In LinkedIn, though, because you can pay for it, there's different accounts. You've got a free account. You've got a version of LinkedIn where you get a little bit more. Then you got a version called Sales Navigator that I'm going to talk about a lot. But for the most part, everyone has LinkedIn. You can't be using some other sort of LinkedIn account and not have LinkedIn. Everyone has it. Okay. Sales Navigator is the next step up from that, and I'll describe that in great detail today. So there aren't many places you can go find out whether Sales Navigator is for you. But if that's you, you're in the right place. You can see what $80 a month gets you and why a lot of folks have kind of been going from where they were, free or something over here, over into Sales Navigator. There's other versions of it out here, but Microsoft's really had a lot to do with this. LinkedIn is sort of a database, a business-to-business database. And don't you think Microsoft knows a little bit about databases, right? LinkedIn came from the PayPal world. They know a little bit about databases over there and stuff. Don't be thinking about LinkedIn as social media like you think about Facebook and Twitter and Instagram and those things. Don't be thinking about it that way at all. Those are add-ons to it. It's a hardcore database that's updated by users that you can extract data from, that you can go out and find people to engage and do business with. That's different than writing stories about warm, fuzzy feelings and all that get likes and attentions and page views and stuff. LinkedIn's about inboxes more so than about feeds. But it has those. It's just that people use it for different things. They have different expectations. So look at all the great stuff you get with LinkedIn. Everyone has this. It comes for free. There's no better value. Could there be a better value if it's free? Huh, Jim?
Yeah, that's correct.
Come in. First of all, right, there's a lot of crappy things that are free that we say are good value, right? You get your money's worth, but you really get your money's worth here, all right? So this is what LinkedIn has for you. So if we go a little further, Sales Navigator, the other big premium thing that we're going to talk about today, takes it even this much further. And this particular thing, you see the word leads all over, right? You see the word leads. That's the big thing that you pay for with Sales Navigator. It's the same profiles. Your network is the same. You don't get a different network. You see profiles maybe a little bit differently. You see some other things a little bit differently. When you get to go search, you really realize what it's like. And you're all in the right spot because that's what we're going to go through. Really hit hard on searching today. All right? So, I showed you all the great stuff you get for free. And it's great. And for $60 you can get more. Right? But when I say more here, I mean you get more of this. You get more of the free LinkedIn stuff. You just get 10 instead of 5 or a little more of this. You don't get anything new. The new stuff comes with Sales Navigator. The extra filters, the extra stuff you can do. Leads and accounts. And it's $80. Look at the difference. Well, if you're willing to spend 60, are you willing to spend 80?
Absolutely.
Okay, I'm an auctioneer now, right? Come on, if you were willing to spend 60, you must be willing to spend 80 on that. Now, what would you pay, Ed, for that database, for all of those users? How much would you pay? Well, there's a ceiling. You can actually spend $100 if you want to go a little further, but we don't need to do that. So there's this big migration that's happened to Sales Navigator as a result. And what happened about a year and a half ago is features that were part of LinkedIn, were part of the $60 program, were taken out. They rebuffed the screen and made it look all kind of cool like your cell phone. And they left a whole bunch of things that people counted on the cutting room floor. And I'm going to discuss this in great detail because I'd love to just jump into it right now. Right? I'd love to tell you the secret. But you got to wait till the end. I got to set it up right. Okay. So why does someone connect? Well, you can do a lot with connections. And I'm going to break down what you can do and why connect. Oh, why don't we just, stay apart on LinkedIn instead of connecting? And the reason is, first of all, it opens the door to a whole bunch of things. You like that one? Took a while to get that one all timed just right. Is he running to the door? Is he walking to the door? Is he crawling to the door? But when it happens, when you connect, you can message people now. So until you connect with someone, you can just send that invite to them. And there's something called an in-mail out there that you can send to people and all. But for the most part, you're really done. When you're invited someone and they're just waiting to accept, or you're not connected to them, you can't do this. And messages can have attachments now, and links, and videos, all kinds of stuff. What's this icon for? What does that icon mean?
Yeah.
Mail, there we go. When you connect with someone on LinkedIn, you get their email address. Is that valuable? God, when I used to work in sales, if you had the email address of the guy or you had the business card, it was your account. That's how we decide. Oh, that's my account. Everyone's saying, oh, yeah, that Goodyear company, that's my account, that's my account. Well, who's got a business card? Oh, I got a business card, it's yours. I got a phone number, it's yours. I'm connected to them, it's yours. So from a competitive sales standpoint, if you're the one connected to the prospect out there and the other guy isn't out there, that's your claim. My account, I'm connected to him. How valuable is that, huh? Mike Thomas, how valuable is that? I own the account, I got a business card, I'm connected to him, and he's not. Okay, I worked in the cubes, right? I understand cube wars. That's cube war for you. In many cases, you get a phone number. What kind of phone number do you think people put in their LinkedIn profile? Now, this is voluntary. Isn't that great, huh? Cell phone number. Wow. Good luck finding that some other way. That comes because it's voluntary. People put information in about themselves that one would not normally expect people to put in. I was born on April Fool's Day. I no longer put my birthday on my profile for a lot of reasons. One, people will pummel you with happy birthday, happy birthday, happy birthday, and your inbox just gets like nothing but happy birthday. I guess I'm done doing work for a while. I'm just going to be a birthday boy. And it goes on for days, hundreds of people like that. So I turned it off, but I also have an unusual birthday, and I can choose what I choose to do. You can also optionally have your phone number there or not. It's an optional thing entirely. Okay. When you connect with people on your homepage, you can see the news that they have going on. You always wonder, who are those people on my homepage on LinkedIn, right? Who are they? Who are these people? Are they connected to you? Well, you are. You are. These are folks you're connected to on your homepage. And there's a little bit more to be had on Sales Navigator on this especially. So you can recommend people on LinkedIn if you're connected. Can't if you're not. You can endorse people, same way. So none of this stuff is possible. When you connect, it's all possible. None of this is possible otherwise. There's my case for why to connect to people. You don't need to know exactly why for now. Our lives change, or they open gates and doors, pipelines to other people. So I'm going to dive deep down into something here now. This is educational. I'm going to whiz through a little bit on searching, and then I'm going to dive deep. All right, so we're going to go over 30,000 feet, and then we're going to come right on the ground, right here. All right, so you get a little bit of both. So here's the big picture stuff. And I'm going to start not with Sales Navigator, because that would be too easy. I could just jump to what I know and it's got all the answers, but I'm going to show what everyone can do here for free. It starts out with deciding what are we looking for. Eventually, everyone is looking for people on LinkedIn. You might start, hi Jonathan, it might start looking for companies, but eventually it becomes people, right? A company doesn't answer an email. A company doesn't accept something. You know, in the Twitter world, a company can be a Twitter. It can be tweeter, but not here, all right? Or you can be looking for companies, okay? And the approach in looking for companies is one to find the right companies that fit our size and space and all, and then go right down through them. Okay? As opposed to, tell me the kinds of people, and they could work over here, over there, over anywhere. We're going to kind of do both. So Google and Facebook and LinkedIn have this wonderful little single box approach, right? One box fits all. It's kind of like single stream recycling, right? You put all your everything that might possibly be recyclable all into this little box. And somebody over there is going to go through my box and say, that's glass, and that's not recyclable and stuff. You know, that's kind of what these do. And they throw away a lot of things that are good, and they miss a lot of things that should be caught. But the single box is still the place to start for a lot of people. All right? So pay attention here, okay? This is deep education 1, 2, 3. This is how to get to the advanced search function on LinkedIn. All right, there's a little bit left. Not all of it was taken away. So this is your bar at the top, right? Watch. Search, people, all filters. 1, 2, 3. Can we do that again? Search, people, all filters. Ignore everything along the way. Just do. What is it? Search, people, all filters. That's simple. And here we go. This is a wonderful place with all kinds of wonderful things, and almost nobody knows how to get there because they don't know to go search, people, all filters. You got to stumble around and you go like, I found this. I hope I can get back here. Okay, and you can. So there's a top half to it. It's kind of a tall screen. It's about a page of paper. It's like a form that you fill out. And in this form, we say what we want. I want these kind of people who live over here, who do that, who blah, 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 and let's go through that. All right? So if we don't know who we're going after, we don't have a business card, we don't have a specific person, we call it targeting. And there's this process of these 5 things we're generally going to go through. This is important stuff. It's good stuff to know. It's going to seem natural, but when you go home tonight, or tomorrow, you might forget a couple things. You're going to get hit with it a couple times here, so you don't have to worry that, oh, he went to the next screen too fast. You'll see this again. We're going to start with keywords. You know what keywords are, right? You put something into Google, and it comes back with something. That's the concept of keywords. All right? Job title, it's just what you expect. Location, what you expect. Industry and skills. And actually, skills and keywords, kind of one and the same. So from 30,000 feet, let's just take a look at what searches look like, okay? This is the real quick kind of flyby. I've got some keywords or skills. It works either way, right? Could Internet of Things be a skill?
Sure.
Could it be a keyword?
Absolutely.
Could be the name of a company. Who knows, right?
Right.
Okay? So that's the first thing. And we got to go with this first. There's a reason this has to go first. All right? I'm going to come back to that in a moment. Next up is job titles. All right? And guess what? There's a picture back there, but you don't get to see it. It's hidden. Hidden. There was not enough clapping before for that picture. There's a clap meter back on slide 3, and you didn't get it. So you have to wonder what that was. All right? Locations matter. And even if you sell to the whole world out there, locations matter if you're going to target where you're going to go market yourself. I'll take a call from anyone in the world who wants to buy something from me already, right? I mean, unless you've got restrictions with financial stuff, okay? But I don't, okay? I can get on the phone and take a check from anybody out there. If they call me, that's great. You know, I've coached some really funny people. I can hardly understand what they're saying, but they understand me. You know, they understand listening to English more than they understand how to speak it. Okay, go to a conference in some foreign place, right? Right. So, but location matters if we're going out, and we'll talk about that in a campaign sense, because we can't target the whole world. We might target Minnesota first, then we'll target Iowa, and then we'll target Wisconsin, or we'll target San Francisco, and then LA, and then San Diego. The location tools are really important on LinkedIn. They're really important on Sales Navigator, because you get more, and the more you get here really does matter. So, your industry, like that? What's my line? I love that one there. Did anyone actually see this show?
Yeah, you're aging yourself.
You know, I did. It was reruns. Okay, I saw reruns, but it's black and white, right? But like, you know, Mr. Ed, back in that same category of stuff, right? Hogan's Heroes, along with that part.
Isn't that Vint Cerf, second from the left? Where's Blue Carey? Vint Cerf?
That couldn't possibly be Vint Cerf.
Yeah.
Couldn't possibly. He's still alive. Okay, but I got your name. I got your point there. All right. So industries is kind of what we're talking about when we're talking about in this sense here. So that's another way to kind of filter it down. So we're going to take these things that we got from the menus, that menu system. All right? We're going to put those into the system. Then we're going to take our keywords, our Internet of Things in this case sort of stuff. We're going to put that in. We're going to plug it in, see our keywords? Then we're going to plug it on into LinkedIn. Okay? This is, from a big sense, what we want. But remember, 30,000 feet, 10,000 feet, we're going to get right down on the ground here. We're coming pretty close. We're kind of coming down right here. So this is what it looks like. Let's look over here for a moment. Let's look over here for a moment, Mike. Okay, so you see, this is when you place your bets like this. You can say, oh, you know, I think I'll change that. You know that, I don't want Washington. I think I'll take Oregon instead. We'll start with Oregon. We'll see, uncheck a box and check another box, right? It's like a dashboard right here. Okay, so that was the overview, a quick overview of a few things, right? Now, I just put that in today. What do you think of that, huh? It's true. I had to choose between 10 pictures, 10 different people. They're about to dive off like that. You better hope it's not a windy day, right? You never see me do that. So let's go a little bit deeper, all right? So didn't I say the keywords had to be first? Here's your first deep lesson of the day. As soon as you put keywords in these searches, at least in LinkedIn, not Sales Navigator, this is LinkedIn, okay? It blanks everything else out. So you put in your location, and you put in your job titles, and you got your industries just right, and you go, I'm going to add a keyword. I'm smart. I'm going to add a keyword. And you do. And what happens? It all goes away. Because as soon as you do, it blanks out the whole screen. Call it a bug if you like. So you put your keywords in, your Internet of Things on in, and you do it first. Okay? You can go back and edit that stuff later. But you can't put it in from scratch. It's a bug in the system. All right? So there's two categories of relationships. Number one, the ones we love. Our first level connections. Okay? We can do all those things, remember? What are all those things we can do? We can walk. Otherwise, we're dealing with folks that are in this other category. And we want to take folks from this category over to this one. That's our goal. We want to move people closer to us so we can do business with them with fewer handcuffs, fewer restraints. So there's two places actually that you can put in the name of a company if you're going to look for a company. Didn't I say you could search for companies? One of them is just type a word, and this is bad user interface design, by the way. Okay, I'll call them to the carpet here. Why would you have two places to enter the name of a company? In one case, it's just a word that just does like almost a keyword search on it. The other case, you can actually find the company from a list. I'll save you from thinking too much about that. Bad software design. Okay? And it happens again a little bit elsewhere. It's just really bad software design. So when we're talking about job titles, we're going to get into this stuff here. And this is deep stuff, but I make it kind of pretty. All right? So I kind of put a little bit of lipstick on this. This isn't really fun stuff. And it's really important though. So you could say, I'm looking for a CEO or a president, right? You see that? The ors in all caps? You can't make it red in LinkedIn. But the caps matters. Okay? Or we could say something like this. Go a little further. See, and now. Ooh, and, or. That's that set theory from 8th grade. Really, I mean, does it have stripes or stars? Or stripes and stars. I mean, really, this is basic stuff from way back when. Okay? Quotes if you've got more than one word. And, or quotes, and then one more, we call it a not command. So when we search on LinkedIn and we find X amount of results, okay, we're going to find people in there that got in by accident. False positives, as they say in the medical world. Okay. Well, maybe we can look at those and say, oh, not retired. Retired people showed up. Now, you can do retired people, so I'll not say that. So, all right. Sean, you don't do retired people, let's say. Let's just pretend you don't. Okay? I don't know if you do or not. It's not today. Okay? So not retired means that folks that used to be great folks out there that look really great to me, unless I look really hard, I might call them and try to get an appointment with them. But I didn't see the word retired because it was down below the scroll bar or something. The power of software can say, let's kick them out. So let's put it all together. Okay? You might get something that's 3 times as long as this. This is a start. This isn't trying to kill you with words. We've used 15 or 20 not commands before. Okay? That's where it really gets going. So you notice when you put a title in, though, that gosh, it kind of cuts off, doesn't it? That's unfortunate. It makes it kind of hard to type stuff in when you can only see some of it at a time. So this is why you're going to use a Google Doc or a Word doc or a text editor somewhere where you're going to store this text and copy and paste it in so you can tell. Especially when you get into brackets and quotes. If it's just ors, this or this or this. When you get into anything other than ors, do it in a word processor. Do you use Google?
Well, I'm new at all this. Don't ask me.
Do you use Google?
Yes.
Who uses Google? Google Docs and Sheets?
Yep.
Aren't they wonderful? I recommend Google Docs and Sheets for all of this here. Okay, Google Drive, all of that. You'll see that in a moment. Locations now. Now, in LinkedIn itself, locations, you can do countries and cities, and that's pretty good. You can say, you know what, I want folks in the US, I want folks in Minneapolis. And those are great filters. Okay? You can do more with Sales Navigator. We'll talk about that a little bit. Yes, Mike?
Question, Mike. On your example, the previous screen, I'm sorry I didn't get it open up here, but did the CEO and the keywords have to be capitalized or not?
No.
Okay.
The only words that have to be capitalized are and, or, and not. Okay? Now, and behind the scenes, CFO and Chief Financial Officer are supposed to be tucked together back there. And they sort of are, but I spelled them out anyway because I find more results if you take Chief Financial Officer out. So, Internet of Things is still sitting up here. We see Denver there. It won't show us here the job title, but if I went to look at all filters again, I would see that job title phrase in there. It just doesn't show you on this sort of summary screen.
Can you go back to the last slide? Next slide. Thank you.
Yep. This is an important one, by the way. In my working with clients and working with basically, I've never found anyone who targets more than half of them. So law enforcement, judiciary, they don't work with me. They just don't. Retail, don't tend to work with them too much either. Veterinary, just don't really work with veterinarians much. So of your list of 147 here, as soon as you check one, you've essentially unchecked 146 others. Do you get what I mean? So be prepared with that list if you're going to go checking stuff, because you're going to have no idea what the others are without it, and it's alphabetized. Sales Navigator, the other program, has this all busted out for you. I'll show you that in a moment. Okay, so here's our results like we talked about. But why would you want 11? Yes?
So you're recommending that when we search for people, we're picking the industries?
Yes.
Because I feel like a lot of people, when they're setting up their profile, don't select the right industry.
That's correct. That's why you want the master list and pick all that apply.
Because like if they're in
You might pick 40 industries or so.
but their company is in technology, they'll do technology when I'm looking for a human resources professional.
Yeah. So that's why you've got both the job title phrases working for you as well as the industries. If you do HR, for example, you might not do HR for law enforcement. So they can come off. Now we're down to 146. You may not do that for some. Your search results are going to be so big, you got to whack it down somehow. You just can't. Their numbers are so big. How are we going to throw people out so we can focus more on the people that matter the most? We can always go back and get them, but someone's got to go first. And the ones that go first are the industries of the people we're already working on. I work a lot in computer software. So that's the first thing I do. I can make sure I own that space, computer software, computer hardware, computer networking. Notice they're all CO. So they sit together on the list. But I work with wireless. They're way down here. I work with internet and telecom. They're not contiguous. If I didn't know the list, I wouldn't even know that they were there. So, any other questions? This is a really good point to ask questions.
Entrepreneurs, Minneapolis, how do you do that?
All right, so if you hunt out entrepreneurs in Minneapolis, ask about what kind of industries do they tend to work in. Okay, just say that you found some industries. Okay, let's just say we got it. Okay, the word entrepreneur or business owner or partner or CEO or chief executive officer. If it's smaller companies, then I'll show you a company filter here. We can say it's 1 to 10 employees or 10 to 50. Okay, because you probably don't work with 3M. I'm not making that assumption of you, but most folks, well, I'm going ahead of myself. We're right there. Okay. All right, we're right there. Okay, 29 filters with Sales Navigator. Okay, and we're not just filtering people in so we find more people. We're filtering people out so we don't have to throw babies out. We want just the folks, and we're going to knock them out, the ones that we don't want so much. Or we're going to store this, or we're going to systematically go after it. So let's talk about these new filters. Wouldn't it be nice here, if we could take advantage of this one? So 5 years ago, I used to own a company, and today I deliver pizzas. Okay, I'm a pizza delivery person today. But 5 years ago, I used to own a software company. Yeah. And you're looking for software companies. Yeah. And you're looking for software companies on LinkedIn.com. And here I am. Yeah. But I deliver pizzas. Because current and past job titles are combined in LinkedIn. It doesn't matter if you ever were or if you are now. But in Sales Navigator, we can say, only show me the current folks that deliver pizza.
Even if you delete it, it's still there? Is that what you're saying?
No, when you have jobs in LinkedIn, you have jobs that have a beginning and an end. Beginning and end, beginning and end, beginning and end. All right? If you're still there, it just has a beginning. And LinkedIn.com puts together the beginning and end, and beginning with no end all together. So you find folks that used to be great targets for you, but they're doing something else now. This filter here matters a lot. You want to pick current. Almost always. If you're doing competitive research, you might do something else. That's not in LinkedIn. It used to be there, by the way. Your free account used to do that. Not anymore. This is a new one. If there's areas in the company that you tend to call on, top, middle, or bottom, they use the big data principles of LinkedIn to figure out, are you tall, middle, or bottom? Okay? And there is some overlap between these here. These are not mutually exclusive. We did a little bit of research. You'd think, well, I'll do the first 3 and then the next 4. And you do crossover. Some folks are more than one. Okay? So if you target the whole world, hallelujah. LinkedIn can do it. Sales Navigator can do it for you. If you target a country, they can both do that for you. On the other hand, if you go state by state, if you target states, we only work with the Midwest. That'd be pretty nice to pick states. Only in Sales Navigator. All right? So if you're doing cities, hallelujah, you can do cities, right? Denver. Now Denver's a kind of a nice round city, you know, so it's not tall, so you can kind of throw a dart in the middle and hit the town. Like you could in the middle of Minneapolis and St. Paul, right? You could put a dart there and draw around, you get the whole city. There's other cities that are not that way. Atlanta's not that way. You know, you got Buckhead up there and you can't just do things with. So what you'd like to have in that case is zip code capability. Only in Sales Navigator. So if you were trying to target the uptown area of Minneapolis, this is your animal here. Say 10 miles near uptown. Hallelujah. Okay, you keep those St. Paul folks away, you know, whatever, right? But you see, you can still do a lot with LinkedIn, but Sales Navigator does more. And there's a small, medium, large principle that goes with Sales Navigator as well. You might call in really big companies. Let's say that's 3M. Target 3M. Right, Mike? I did. I targeted 3M. I closed the deal with 3M for Mike Thomas here, right? You know, that was great. I had a few companies where we're kind of small. You don't always think they're small. They look bigger than they are, right? I thought you had 10 employees. I come here and it's a little spot in your basement. Okay. Well, if they've got money, you still kind of go forward, but only half as fast, right? Really thought I was going to be able to do more with you, right? The big deal, though, is generally these accounts inside something. Somewhere in the middle. Not the biggest of big or the smallest of small. I work with folks that are 10 to 200 employees or 500 to 1,000 employees or so. That's only in Sales Navigator. So if you want to do searches that include people who used to be at the title there, who work at big and small and everywhere kind of folks, any part of town, you know, and that works for a lot of people. That works for 3/4 of the people on LinkedIn. But the other 25% of the people that have a revenue number, that need leads at all, they need this tool. And I'm going to show you more where the lead part comes from. All right. Now, if you want to decide, you know, some folks are really looking for this, you know, recruiters like this, right? They like folks that are a few years out of college, you know, they're making 30 grand, they can go make 45 grand at this other company out here. So the recruiters love this little less than 1 year. Unfortunately, almost everyone on LinkedIn, 90%, 85%, are 10 years or more experience. Does that seem unusual? Lauren, does that seem unusual?
Not for me.
If you're a recruiter, you know this, because you're trying to find these young folks out there, and they're not easy to find out there.
They're on Snapchat and Instagram instead.
Yeah. You see why recruiters love it, though, right? They can take someone who's making, like I said, 40 grand, find them a job for 60 grand, get paid $20,000 for doing that, and then just go find another one, and find another one, and find another one. All right? There's a lot more with Sales Navigator. I'm not going to get into it, but see the big screen? You know, big screen, lots of stuff. So next way to make money with LinkedIn in a business development sort of way is by partnering. That means that somebody else out there is your buddy. They sell some other part of the solution. So this is where I'm gonna get into a story. There's a couple times here I'll just get into stories. If you're selling hardware, it doesn't work very good on its own, does it? Hardware requires software, okay? Requires someone to put it together, right? People, service, and stuff, right? Probably requires somebody who's got money, you know, so regulatory approval or budgetary approval and stuff. Let's talk about it. So be thinking about this one. This is really juicy stuff. What goes well with what I sell? When I worked for Mike, I would sell file servers and computer equipment, stuff that was not at your desktop. You know, the stuff behind the scenes. And every now and then a customer would say, oh, by the way, can you give me the laptops too? Oh, can I? Kinda. You mean my $60,000 deal is about to be a $250,000 deal? Sure, I could do that. Yeah, I can do that. I'll find a way, right? Find a way to do that. But that was not normally the case. Normally, I'm doing my little part, and someone else is doing other parts. And there was a company here, and I wish I could remember their name, that did computer cabling. So the period of time is the late 80s. And we're about to get into the period where you can go to Best Buy and buy network gear. We're not quite there yet, okay? But we're just years away from where you're going to be able to do that. And the world of networks uses coax cable. So I string a cable up and down the rows here, right? And you'd all tap into this cable. Right, all kinds of, anyone messes up something along the way out there and it takes the network down for everybody, right? Darn, static, network's down, static, my gosh, what could happen, right? Well, this was during the period of time where Twisted Pair was coming out. So what's Twisted Pair?
Just together, isn't it?
I'll give you credit for that, but no, it's not. Not at all. But yeah, you get a half a point. Tom, what's Twisted Pair?
I don't know, but I'm guessing it's like two different types of communication channels put together.
You know, let's keep going here. We're not getting Alan.
Wires twisted together.
Good enough. I'm not going to go any further with this one here. Okay? So Twisted Pair is similar a little bit to what you plug your phone into when you plug your phone in the wall. Except you plugged your computer in, and it was round cable instead of flat, right? So it's kind of twisted. Everyone gets a little bit of credit here, all right? But what Twisted Pair let us do is we could run our computer network over cable we already had. Because we ran cable for our phone systems, and guess what? They ran more than they needed. There's extra pairs there, and we can use them for our networks. Or we'd be working with clients that were moving, and when they move, they upgrade their servers and stuff. But anyhow, I had a relationship with a guy for a cable company, and whenever I sold one, he sold one. I'll kind of show how that works here in a moment. So there's me, selling Compact System Pros. Does anyone remember Compact System Pro? All right, so I sold that, and all these other little things kind of went with it. I had some big workstation deals that happened, but they were like, oh, by the way, because that's not really what I sold. Made a lot of money doing that sometimes. And somebody's got the budgetary number for it, or someone's funding it. So what goes well with what I sell? So here's an example. What goes well with cloud storage? So Jim, you sell cloud storage. Who else is in this category here? When they're buying cloud storage, what else are they buying?
Access.
They need internet service, right? It doesn't work without internet service. There's probably some equipment, right? Got to plug that into some equipment. There's probably a security guy who's got to say that's okay and that's not. And they've got old equipment that they're going to have to go sell to somebody out there, and they got to blank out the data on that and sell it to someone who might sell it to someone else. One of my biggest aces in the hole when I was in sales is I had a company called Computer Hardware Resale. I'll bet they're still around. Computer Hardware Resale. And this was after I knew Mike. This was after I got in. This is when I got into the telecom world. And this company bought and sold telecom gear. So as I was taking a client who had a slow internet connection and selling them a big, fast internet connection, they could sell the old router to them, take that money, trade it in on the new router over here, get a 3-year deal, shipped with the new software, warranty, the whole bit. Someone meets them there to go hook it up. That was just wonderful. That was part of what goes well with what I sell, right? Okay, same thing with the storage. You know, video services, same sort of thing, right? We're doing video, well, someone's going to edit it there, someone's going to do hair and makeup, maybe. Who knows, right? So when they sell one, I sell one too. That was the way. My cable guy sold more deals than I did, because sometimes they didn't buy from me. But they did buy from him, because he was, well, he had something they had to have, right? They didn't necessarily always had to have to do what I'm doing, but they always needed that. And you know, we weren't the cheapest folks in town. I had to keep high margins up for this guy named Mike Thomas. He wouldn't let me do 8-point deals, you know? Couldn't do that. 25 points. All right, so if we take a look at the partners we already have, Okay, just like I described, those sort of people. We can find folks like them. And maybe folks exactly like them. I can work with 2 cabling companies. I can only bring one into the deal, but 2 of them can bring me into the deal. It gets a little tricky when you're kind of double dating. You know, you should be dating one person at a time, one spouse at a time, sort of things. These partnerships work better where you've got an exclusivity sort of thing. Okay, and LinkedIn helps. Sales Navigator helps. This is one of many areas I'm going to discuss where LinkedIn matches you up with folks that you should be doing business with. And by the way, when I find similar people to Stefan here, there's another button that says find similar, and you can just go, oh, I like them, I like them, I like them. Shopping for customers. Okay. So I'm going to show you how to take LinkedIn connections you already have and how to do business with LinkedIn connections you already have. Then we're going to get on to folks you're not connected to. On the LinkedIn side, I call it the ABC approach. Fundamentally, this is it. These are folks we're connected to, all right? So you see the little one, right? Our A folks over here are folks that we're connected to on LinkedIn that we know, that we could say something personal about. So if I sent a message to Jim that just said, "Dear sir," you'd feel offended, wouldn't you? Yeah. Okay, Mike, it's Jim. You know? But there's other folks in the room here, I don't know you very well. I couldn't say, Preston. Yep. I couldn't say much. I don't know you very well. So I couldn't say, "Hey Preston, how's the Bitcoin going?"
Perfect question.
Yeah, it's a good question, right?
Good question for me.
Yeah. But let's pretend I didn't know that about you. Or we couldn't see the coin. You know, whatever. So we've got those folks. Then we've got folks that we really don't know. Okay, it's folks we gotta treat personal, and then folks that could be automated, subbed out. The work dealing with those folks, the bigger number of folks, doesn't have to be me. Doesn't have to be necessarily me at the keys. We've got tools we can use. So first part is, with either of these cases, we want to find someone specific. Okay, so if we're looking to see if we're connected with somebody or not, we're going to try to type in their name and try to see where they're at. Okay, well, we might even in a big city need to add more criteria. All right, because the personal folks that we're going to message out here are going to get essentially this canned message that's got a little bit extra to it. This is what I mean by, this is what makes them an A. Otherwise, they'd all be Bs. And Bs are folks where we really can't say anything like that, or we don't have the time, or they wouldn't be offended. But folks you really do know are going to be kind of offended getting that message that says, "Dear Ms., Dear Mr., that does not acknowledge the fact that we've already got a relationship. We just don't do anything with the C's. Boom, they drop off, okay? So folks we're connected to. Folks, we're going to send a message to certain folks that we know really well. We're going to do some other method to get to the other folks. Okay, farming contacts. These are people you're not connected to. Okay, not connected yet. Or we don't know if you're connected, right? We don't know. We're going to find out. 2s and 3s is what we're looking for. They could be coming from business cards. That's a great spot. I got your business card. That goes in an invitation real well. I got your business card here. Doesn't it? They met you somewhere, right? You wouldn't have a business card otherwise. You're not mailing them out to people. Of course. If you have a business card of somebody, you might see them again. Would never want to diss somebody I'd see again. What would I say? Of course, I'll accept. Of course. All right? Your CRM system's full of people you're not connected to. And should be. Your CRM system, I should say Excel over here for some people, right? Rolodex, whatever, something like that. Folks have unusual CRM systems some days, right? So next, you've got your mail systems have got contacts in it, right? These are all places to find. Before you begin finding strangers, let's shore up the folks we already know. Let's deal with them. Spreadsheets, events, anywhere, the book of lists. Wherever there is some sort of outside something, we're going to create, if it's the book of lists or it's just a spreadsheet you just happen to have, are those A's or B's? B's, that's good, Tom. B's, you can speak it out.
Bees.
B's, hallelujah. They're B's. You don't know who those folks are, but you know, you might go down the list of 17 here. So John Tyler, my God, John Tyler. Yeah, it's John. So even in a book of lists, you might actually know some of those folks. We're, more senior people here for the most part. We might actually know folks that are in those sorts of lists. All right? So once again, we've got folks that we know that we're going to write an invitation that's got some special language. We got folks we don't know so well. Looks kind of like this. Boom, boom. There we go. Nothing with the C's. All right, we're at the tail end here. Okay, I'm going to flash some really great stuff on lead generation now. Okay, so pay attention. This is really big stuff. Okay, I omitted a lot of things so we could get to this. All right, first of all, on LinkedIn, when you look at someone's profile on LinkedIn, on the right side of their profile, you can see other people that are like this person. People also viewed, they call it. Okay, Sales Navigator has it as well. Okay, now you can turn this off so it doesn't show over here. It's in your settings. I didn't have time to show you settings. We're going to deep dive in that. But you can turn off the ability so this won't show on LinkedIn, but it's still going to show on Sales Navigator. One more reason. Have Sales Navigator. They can't hide from you. It's like no unlisted numbers allowed. Okay, within Sales Navigator, if I'm looking at an individual here, his company shows up at the top and I can see other people just like him at the same company. Key part, same company. Usually when you see views similar, it's not the same company. In this case here, these are other people. Here's the chief executive and these are SVPs. If this guy here was a recruiter, they'd be recruiters. If he was a programmer, they'd be programmers. When I save an account over in Sales Navigator, I can see similar companies as well, different companies. And for the most part, a lot of these companies, they use an algorithm there that kind of scores some of it.